Hello, Lynn Watts here with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books. And today I'm going to talk about having a positive attitude, teaching that kind of approach, that kind of outlook on life to young children, to students, and how that is related to resilience. So that's kind of a big overview of what I'll be talking about today. But before I start talking about that, I want to tell you about where you can find some extended lessons on exactly these topics. And so, what I'm going to do today is just suggest that if that's something you want to look for, one of the best ways to do that is to get my school counselor combo of lesson plans. So, it includes three different books. Let me just tell you real quickly what they are. One is the Stories to Learn By, which has lesson plans for each of the Wyatt picture books along with a lot of activities and things that you can do to extend them. And the two picture books that would most go along with the idea of having a positive approach would be the one on good manners, where Wyatt talks to a friend that he is having a relationship problem with, and also the one on giving or generosity, which is really a holiday book, but talks a lot about how to be generous no matter how old you are and no matter what your situation is. Another one is the school counselor small group guide. And in this one, there is a section on how to talk positive to yourself. It's called Growing in Self-Compassion. So it really addresses the issue of self-talk and how oftentimes that can be very negative. We learn to be very critical and negative of ourselves. And how do you learn to talk positively to yourself? And then the third one is the Elementary School Counselor Book of Lesson Plans, Volume 2, which has a lot of new and then updated lessons. And it has one on making friends with positive words. So again, that idea of positivity and how to infuse that through every aspect of your life. So there are lots of different ways that we can teach this information to kids. And I would recommend either each of those books individually, or if you want to get a really good deal, best value, you can go to the website, wyattthewonderdog.com, and you can purchase all three of them as a bundle, and it is at a reduced price, cheaper than you can get them individually. So let's talk about what is optimism. And it's the ability or the outlook of having a positive approach to life and expecting that there can be a positive outcome, even though you recognize that there are challenges, there's setbacks, there's stress that are a normal part of life. So it's not having a Pollyanna approach to everything, that everything is going to work out and everything in life is wonderful. It's not this kind of toxic positivity that you might have heard about. But it means for children, it means believing things like, I can try again. It means believing this is hard, but I can get help or I can get through it. And it also means recognizing that failure and mistakes doesn't define who you are or what your overall attitude is toward challenges in general, but that it is simply something that happens and that we learn from mistakes and from failure. So optimistic students view challenges and difficulties as temporary, as specific, and as changeable rather than permanent or overwhelming. So I think you can see why that is very helpful approach, and also why that is related to resilient, because resilient children recognize that we all experience difficulties, but we can all cope with them and we can look for ways to handle them. So let's talk about some practical ways, and I'm just going to cover a few of these. If you want to read more, you can follow the link in the show notes. But some practical ways to teach optimistic approach. Number one is to teach gratitude. All right. So when you teach students to keep a gratitude journal or to look at life in terms of what they're grateful for, what you're doing is helping them to focus on the positive things. And otherwise, it is very easy to overlook them. Our brain tends to really dwell on negative, and we have to train ourselves, teach ourselves to look for the positive. So gratitude practices are important. One is reframing setbacks or challenges. Sometimes you can reframe them as, what are you going to learn from this? You can reframe them into how it's going to change things in a positive way. There are lots of ways to reframe things. It might just teach you what you could try next time, and when things are difficult. So I think that's a second way to teach children how to be more optimistic and to have a positive approach. And a third way is to model realistic hope. And honestly, role modeling is the best way to teach students all of these different traits or attributes of resilience. And if you, as an adult, are modeling realistic hope, not pretending that things are not as bad as they are, but rather, that the outcome could eventually be positive, then that is certainly something that we are showing students how to do, not just telling them that they should. So those are three ways to help students develop a positive approach. As always, I want to thank you so much for all you do to make children's lives better, to help them to develop resilience, and I thank you for listening.